On July 14th in the year 2000, everyone's favorite little blue tank engine, Thomas, took to the big screens for the first time in his very own feature film. Even though there were some big names in this movie like Alec Baldwin and Mara Wilson, this movie was a box office bust and barely made more than its budget of $19 million. But why was this? Is it because of the rating given by the critics? Or is it because of the very bizarre nature of this movie? Me and many others love this movie regardless of its mistakes and interesting decision making, because we grew up with it, and I personally believe that this movie is amazing, but the critics say otherwise. What I want to figure out in this video is the answer to a few simple questions. Who should you listen to, the critics and their opinions, or the nostalgia factor of this movie? What if this movie came out today? Would people still love it with zero nostalgia? I believe that this movie does a great job in embracing the imagination of kids. Most movies nowadays don't embrace the imagination of children anymore. It might be because movie producers are scared of being rated very low by critics, and all they want to do is chase money instead of making enjoyable movies. Now let's try to understand where these critics were coming from. I'm going to split this video into two sections: movie mistakes / critic complaints, which will just highlight mistakes and very strange decisions within the movie to point out what the critics disliked about the movie. The second half will be about the nostalgia factor. How does it play into everyone else's opinion on the movie itself? Are the critics right about this movie? An article titled Revisiting the Magic Railroad at 25, and Unbridled Praise, and critique too, is a great read, and is where I'm pulling some of my information out of. It gives a good perspective about viewing the movie again after a long time. Before that, let's have a recap of where Thomas and his friends came from. The origin of Thomas is pretty simple. He comes from stories written by Wilbur Awdry starting in 1945. He wrote 26 children's books before this movie came out, and they were very popular. After two failed TV show adaptations, the original TV series came out and blew up. The show followed the books to a T, with minor changes like engine colors, but this movie had brand new content that was not straight from the books. Let's get to the mistakes and critic complaints. I want to clarify beforehand that I'm not going to point out every single critique inside this movie, but I'm going to point out the ones that are most interesting to me. Some of these aren't even mistakes, rather some things that confuse critics and audiences. There's a complaint in one of the first scenes of the movie. Gordon is waiting for Thomas at the station because he's running behind. The first mistake here is Gordon's piston valve is broken. Something as simple as that got complaints. They wanted to know why they were using broken models. I understand why this got picked up. It's a $19 million movie, but most viewers didn't even realize this until it got pointed out. The next question is, why does James sound like that?
Feeling a little blue, which isn't so hot when you're red.
This is the first time the engines have had separate voice actors. In the TV show, everyone was narrated by a single person.
Why, Edward could beat you in a race any day. Really, said James.
So people were kind of surprised when James sounded like a girl. I personally like it, but not many others do. It fits his sassy and boastful nature. There's no complaint here, but just how magnificent this scene is when it comes to the visuals and soundtrack. It's just beautiful. A big complaint was that the villains in this movie weren't evil enough. They are more so just dumb. Diesel 10's claw Pinchy kind of sells us the entire movie.
Pinchy? Ow, Pinchy!
Diesel 10's henchmen also do this. Diesel 10 also merges their names together for some reason, like they're a married couple.
Got a job for you, Splodge.
Actually, it's a splatter.
and dodge.
When we get to the introduction of Lily, we see her as a sweet girl with tons of character. But how does going up the fire escape get you inside of a train station? And whose parents are just okay with this? Even though that it doesn't make much sense, it does a good job showing that this bird is special to Lily, and overall it's just so wholesome. Now here's Mr. Conductor. He makes it to the island of Sodor, and it's all fine and dandy until this picture frame, for some reason, defies the laws of physics. He accidentally knocks it off the table, and it would have hit the ground before he gets there, but the clip cuts to a low-cut angle, and somehow the picture frame is all the way up there. From a kid's perspective, this gag is great. It's wacky, and it got a good laugh out of me after rewatching the movie. Now we're back to Lily. She's trying to find the correct train at the station to make it back to her grandfather's house. Instead of getting help from a worker, she listens to a dog, who ends up putting her on the wrong train.
I hope you're right.
We get to this scene, where all of the engines are having a discussion about Diesel 10, and how they're worried that if he destroys the magic engine, that they'll be destroyed too. Now, two things here. First, where is Edward? He's just straight up not in this movie. There's other scenes where all the engines are together talking and I just forgot about Edward. I absolutely love Edward as a character, and this just makes me sad. Also, why is Toby smiling when he says this?
And if he finds her, I fear that will destroy us all.
Doesn't seem very afraid. He seems kind of excited for this to happen. Anyway, back to Mr. Conductor. He gets lost trying to solve the mystery of how to get more gold dust, and he realizes that he needs to find the windmill, which will be important later. He's trying to find the clues, and he reads a note from a rabbit. Yes, you heard me, a rabbit.
Gone fishing rabbit.
The note pretty much just says eat some vegetables and you remember the clue to solving the mystery. Which I think is pretty smart because, you know, kids movie, telling them to eat the vegetables might convince him to. After eating the vegetables, he gets a great idea to call his brother Junior. And you know what he does? He pulls flowers out of the ground and calls him. It gets better. His brother picks up on his cell phone. My cell phone! Later, Mr. Conductor is walking along the track and Diesel 10 shows up and grabs him, threatening to drop him off a bridge. Mr. Conductor notices some tubes on Diesel 10's claw and conveniently pulls out a giant set of pliers out of his pocket. He tries over and over again to reach for the giant pair of pliers that he conveniently drops slightly out of range, and he grabs them and cuts the tubes, flying all the way conveniently to where he was searching for. Then he breaks the fourth wall.
Did you put all this here for me?
So much happens in this part of the movie, so I'll give you a few key moments that I enjoyed and kind of sets the pace for the rest of the movie. Lily meets Junior at Shining Time Station, and they use gold dust to get to Sodor. Thomas brings them to Mr. Conductor. They get a call on the flower phone. This is a recurring part of the movie, and it is so random, but I love it. For some odd reason, Junior grabs the windmill because, quote, "This is just like the fun fair!" He gets flung conveniently onto Diesel 10, and he rides him like a surfboard. Thomas and Lily take the magic buffers to the real world, and Lily leaves Thomas on a cliff. I'm glad that they made Thomas go into the real world, because if only the humans could travel through the magic buffers, they wouldn't make him as cool. But leaving Thomas on a cliff was kind of rude. He falls off the cliff, rolling down the hill, and teleports. I love this scene so much. From the music to the visuals, I get a warm feeling for some reason.
Magic, it's safe inside you.
Anyway, they make it to Sodor and they get back to Mr. Conductor. Diesel 10 finds them and the chase begins. Mr. Conductor realizes that
She's part of the clue to the source of the gold dust!
The chase sequence is pretty cool. I like the music and the cinematography. The only error is that the cut character PT Boomer is still there. When it comes to the end of the chase, Diesel 10 falls off the viaduct into a boat. The way he falls makes zero sense. He goes from falling perfectly forward to rotating 180 degrees upwards to grab the track above him, falling down in a different position after the track breaks and landing in the boat 90 degrees to the right. I love the part when they make it over the bridge so much. It might just be the victory or the train whistle.
Well done, Thomas! Well done!
Now for this next part, I'm gonna just play a clip from the movie completely unedited and just let me know if this makes any sense.
Put the shavings in with the water. Go ahead, Lily. Throw it up in the air.
I'm getting mixed signals. Does the gold dust go into the air or the water? Anyway, Junior and Mr. Conductor finally get their gold dust and they can return to their lives. Finally, we get to the nostalgia factor. I'm going to show off what audiences thought about this movie. The reason I'm doing this is to show off how nostalgia plays a big part in their opinions. At the end of the section, we'll have the answer to our question, who should you listen to? Critics and their opinions, or the nostalgia? A great video that inspired my idea for this video is a video from The Unlucky Tug called How This Movie Derailed a Franchise, Analysis of Thomas and the Magic Railroad. He goes way more in depth about everything in this movie when it comes to the production, cutscenes, what he likes and dislikes, and it's a way better recap. Even if it sounds mostly negative than positive, he gives a very good insight on why things in the movie are the way that they are. Even with everything wrong in this movie, nostalgia plays a big part in everyone's opinion about this. A good article titled Pop Culture Phenomenon, The Impact of Nostalgia on Entertainment, shows why nostalgic media seems to have more bias when viewing it. Two examples it gives is comfort of the familiar and the revival of classic franchises. Both sections highlight the idea of positivity and comfort when it comes to media that you may have grown up with. For an example, if this movie came out when everyone was older, they probably wouldn't like it as much. For example, let's hypothetically take the Minecraft movie and release it in the early 2000s. I feel like people would like it way more because of the nostalgic feel inside of the movie. Critics would probably dislike it because of its inaccuracies and stupid jokes, but in the eyes of children, this movie would still be absolute cinema. Most of the negative reviews are coming from adults that can't stand childish movies, but this movie is literally made for kids. Kids were able to rate this movie compared to adults, then it'd be 10 out of 10. I understand that it's easier to get proper feedback from grown adults, but I feel like that kind of ruins the entire point of a target audience. Of course adults wouldn't like the movie that was targeted towards kids. Again, the Minecraft movie in this context works perfectly. Both of the movies are targeted towards kids, and they want to try something different from the original source material and gets way too much backlash for it. Both took popular actors from the time and put them inside of super popular IPs. Even though that adults don't like these two movies, I believe that both of them accomplish their jobs to entertain their target audiences. When there's something in your childhood that impacts it in a positive way, 10 out of 10 times, you'll love it no matter how everyone else views it. Now let's get to the final part of this video. After learning about Thomas and the Magic Railroad and its critics, we finally have an answer to the question, who should you listen to? The critics or the nostalgia factor? I feel like that everything that the critics pointed out that they liked and disliked about this movie were completely understandable. The critics are used to the TV show series following the book stories written by Wilbur Awdry. So when these new writers came in and took their own approach on a story that introduces completely new elements, it makes sense for them to be skeptical. But is this movie as bad as they say? No. Even with all the mistakes and interesting decisions, it embraces the imagination of kids across the world. For a movie made in the early 2000s, it holds a ton of core memories for not just me, but people everywhere. I can proudly say, listen to the nostalgia factor. The critics' takes are completely valid, but I believe the nostalgia factor is just too big to ignore. This movie will forever be in the hearts of fans across the world, and this is why I think this movie is amazing. I want to thank all of you for watching.
And it's time for all of us to go home. Just like Thomas.